I'm Pastor Matt, and this is the EMBER Exchange. So, whether we're talking about something from our church, something from the Bible, or interviewing a guest, we will do it unrushed, one puff at a time. The same is the best way to enjoy a cigar. Today, I want to share with you something from a story that's in Exodus chapter 12. And I think to those of us who are believers, it's a message of encouragement. And for those of you who may be a little more on the fence and maybe not quite ready to be a follower of Christ, or maybe aren't totally convinced, I think it's a message of hope. And it's the story of the first Passover. And again, it's in Exodus chapter 12 if it was something you wanted to read. But the story goes as the plagues of Egypt went on and on under Moses' leadership, the river being turned to blood and lice and flies and frogs and all the things that happened. The last plague was the Passover, which was the angel of death would pass through Egypt and the only ones, and then kill all the firstborn children, all the firstborn sons. And the only way to be spared from that was to sacrifice a lamb and then to paint the blood of the lamb on the two side posts and on the upper doorpost of the door going into your home. And then the angel of death would pass over your home, hence the term Passover. Well, let's think about a story, and let's have two guys, and let's call them. It doesn't matter. Let's call them Frank and John. Obviously, there's no Israelites named Frank and John, but it makes for a good story. And they're standing around the night before the Passover, and Frank says, "Hey, man, what do you think about this Passover business?" And John says, "Man, I don't know. It seems a little far-fetched to me. I mean, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the thing with the lamb and I'm going to put the blood around the door, but I don't know. We'll just see. What do you think?" And John says, "Well, I am totally convinced. I believe that my God is a God of promise, and what he says he will deliver, and I have no doubts whatsoever." And so later that night, they both slaughter a lamb. And they both paint the side doorposts and the upper doorposts of their homes. And so the question is, well, which one of them did the angel of death pass over? And the obvious answer is both, because the commandment was that the blood of the lamb on the side posts and the upper doorposts, and the angel of death would pass over. Well, one of them was full of faith. I have no doubt that my God will do what he will promise. The other one had faith that was much weaker. So I don't know. I'm going to do it, but I don't know. It seems far-fetched. And there's a lesson here for us believers who so often doubt our faith, because maybe we have moments of doubt, we have moments of unsurety, we have moments where we might say our faith wavers. And I think sometimes we feel guilt for that. And so often people who are on the precipice of becoming a follower of Christ, or a Christian or not, they feel like, I'm just not fully convinced that this is really the thing. And they start to feel despair because, can I profess to be a Christian if I still am just have a doubt here and there about what may be true and maybe what isn't? And I think it's important to recognize from that story that the message of faith isn't about how strong our faith is. The message of faith is about how strong is the object of our faith. And when we place our faith in God, there is no stronger object of our faith. And for you Bible students, we see that come to life in the story of Abraham in Genesis. How God promises Abraham that he will become the father of many nations, and then he was old and didn't have any kids, and his wife was old and they didn't have any kids. And we think that Abraham never doubted, but when we read the story, Abraham continually doubted. To the point he had a child with a servant that he was going to use to be his son. And when they were taken captive, he passed his wife off as his sister so that she could marry the king, and that they wouldn't get caught up in them assassinating Abraham. And he was full of doubt about what God would do. But later in the book of Hebrews, when it looks back on the story of Abraham, It says that his faith never wavered, doubting the promise of God. His faith wasn't in that God would do what he said he would do. His faith was in that he never doubted that God was able to do what he said he would do. Again, don't get caught in the trap of questioning your own faith because you may have a doubt here and there, because it's really about the object of your faith. So, until next time, keep your fire burning, keep your cigar lit, send us your burning questions.